Welcome to the Inbound Back Office Podcast, where we chat with smart agency owners about agency challenges. I'm Holly Reed, strategist at Inbound Back Office, plug and play back office support for your marketing agency. Today on the show, we have a fun one. We are welcoming Julie Nichols, owner of Julie Nichols Marketing, to the show today, and we are going to do a 6-part series on building a marketing agency. And today is part 1. These will come out every second Friday of the month for the next 6 months. So you get to kind of come along with us and learn what Julie's learning about building an agency. So welcome, Julie.
Oh my God, Holly. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to do this. And I can't wait for everybody to follow along with all of my pitfalls and what is it? Pitfalls and I don't know what they call it, something.
Yeah.
Positives and pitfalls, something like that.
Yeah.
Many pitfalls. And I'm just happy to bear it all for your audience.
Yes, it's going to be fun. I mean, we talk with a lot of agency owners, but we've never really gotten to do an exclusive with someone who is just starting out building a new agency. But before we dive into all that, why don't you give us some background? Tell us about you, what you've done in the past, what you're doing now.
Absolutely. So my background is I'm an actor and I went to school for theater and I was a professional actor for 10 years. And then I had twins, which I like to call the record scratch of my life. And that changed everything. That was basically like, holy crap, I have to kind of rethink everything I had been doing. So when you're a professional actor, especially in Chicago, where I live, you always have to have a day job. So I was always an executive assistant or a marketing associate or whatever. And I also worked for a startup theater company. And I was their first social media manager. This was back in 2009 when nobody really knew how to use social media to promote theater. So basically we're creating everything from scratch, pulling stuff out of our butts. We just kind of rolled with the punches. And I learned so much just from starting there. And then that kind of really grew into my marketing career. Once I had my twins, I wasn't able to do theater anymore. And I didn't have the bandwidth to do the marketing for the theater company anymore. And so I kind of fell into finding this online company that was a resource specifically for parents. And I was like, I love this idea. I want to be involved. And so it was through that organization that I built up all of my marketing skills. I learned how to write proposals. I learned how to write contracts. I learned how to pitch brands. So we were working directly with lots of baby brands. So managing all those accounts. I was also in charge of the entire website, all of the content we were getting parents to write for us.
Nice.
And I was building resources. I was also building curriculum and online courses. We had 2 podcasts. I was the producer. We did everything. We did everything you could ever imagine. I don't know how I survived that job. I wore a million hats and made the least amount of money I think I've ever made. But I learned so much over those years there. And, once sadly that job, I was laid off back in October of 2021. And it was kind of like, oh my God, what do I do now? I don't even know what to do with myself. So, I loved doing marketing for small business, but I really had no interest in doing it for a large organization. And I really was like, I need to make some good money because I've been kind of like stretching the dollar as far as it can go in this previous job. And I'm just tired of it. So I pivoted to learning and development. So corporate training. So I did that for a year. I was able to quickly kind of upskill myself. I had been teaching since I was like 20 years old.
Right.
And I was able to kind of I worked for a trucking company. I was, a learning and development manager for a year, just got laid off from that as well. So this was back in this past January of 2023. And it was one of those moments where I'm like, well, now what do I do again?
Yeah.
And the job market has been so crappy this season. And it was just one rejection after another. And I just started networking with different private networking groups. And through talking to people, I found myself constantly like talking about learning and development, corporate training. And then, and I did marketing for a long time and blah, blah, blah. And I produced a podcast. And always the person I'm talking to would be like, wait a minute, you know how to do X? How did you do? And I'd be like, oh, it's easy. Here's how you do it. And it cost me nothing, blah, 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 blah. And I would feel so excited talking to them about how I did it and how I did it on the cheap. And by the end of the conversation, they're like writing notes, they're like taking all this down. And then I'd end the call and I'd be like, wow, that was so much fun. Wait a minute, I think somebody might pay me to do this. So that was when I was like, you know what? Nothing's happening in my job search. I'm 4 months into my unemployment. I'm just going to go all in and start my own agency.
Yeah.
There's a million marketing agencies out there in the world. Like, why is mine going to be any different? That's like, of course, the thing that across my mind a million times. And I think just for me, what I really want to bring to the table is I really want to help those people who are entrepreneurs, small businesses who maybe have like gotten by on referrals all this time.
Yeah.
Now they're like, I really want to grow my business, or I'm seeing a downturn and I need help because I don't have a marketing person. I don't know what I'm doing. Social media scares me. I want to be that person to help. I want to take your hand and I want to teach you what you need to know. I want to help you with your strategy, give you the tools and send you on your way and say, good luck, Charlie. And it's going to be great. You're going to do it. But also for people who don't want to do it on their own, I want to find them the right person to help them do that. So that's really what I'm looking to do. And
Awesome.
it's been a whirlwind. I literally started this Memorial Day. And
Wow.
what is it? Today's August 8th. So it's been amazing and also really scary. So that's right now.
I love that. I love that you took like all this experience you had and the conversations you started having with people, and you're hearing the problem that everybody's having, right? And you're like, wait, I have the solution for this, and I bet people would pay me for it. know? And I think when people are starting either as entrepreneurs or marketing agency owners, they kind of overcomplicate it, right? And what I love is that you're keeping it so simple. You're like, oh, this is your problem. Well, here's how you solve it. And I can do that all day long with all these different things. And that is how you can grow a business really fast.
Yeah. And and I'm not pretending to know something that I don't. I legitimately know X, Y, and Z, but then A, B, and C, for example, analytics. I've never been super in analytics, but I got a guy. I always got a guy. I think that should be like my tagline.
Yeah.
Marketing, I got a guy. So then I can be like, look, call so-and-so. They can help you out with that, but I can help you out with all of this. I feel like, I guess I'm considered a marketing generalist because I've been a one-woman show for so long that I had to learn. I had to learn how to create organic SEO and write blogs specifically targeted to certain keywords. And I had to learn how to use SEMrush and Key Search and all these programs that I can't afford on my own, by the way. But I had to learn how to use them. And it's really so much simpler than you would think. Like it seems very scary to the person who has obviously no idea about any of this.
Right.
But if I could just get people to sit down with me and I can be like, look, here's what you do. Use this program, you type this in, then you go here, then you go there, give them like a roadmap.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is actually not that hard. I just got to follow these steps until it becomes natural.
Yeah.
And then it kind of starts to fall into place.
Well, and I think that's one of the things, especially entrepreneurs as your target market and small business owners, that's the biggest thing is they're like, I'm very capable. I just don't know what to do, because a lot of them can't afford full service agencies to do it all for them. They're like, I just need some strategy and someone to tell me what to do and I can do it. Right. And that I think is part of the agency world that maybe not a lot of agencies only do that, right? Like what you're doing, where it's more like, hey, let me do it for you and we'll run it for you and we'll do all these programs. But then the minute that they can't afford the agency anymore or whatever, they have to figure it all out again.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yep. You're good.
I'm really trying to kind of market myself as I'm not going to be working with you forever. Like my goal is to get you confident in what you're doing so that you can do it yourself. Like I don't want to spend your money if I don't have to. I'd love to take your money in the beginning. I have no problem with that. But I want to make it easy and cost efficient for you in the long term by giving you that education. Teaching you how to fish, and then also trying to help set you up with some support that can help you, social media management. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Like, I know how to do it. I've done it many times.
Yep.
It is not my jam. So, but it is a lot of other people's jam. And I
Totally.
even know people who have agencies to job out social media managers. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's a perfect connection I can make for somebody. I
Yeah.
feel like my kind of natural tendency for connection for whatever, that is
Yeah.
also playing a really nice role in this. Like, I'm absolutely the I got a guy person. Clearly, that's my tagline
Yeah.
now. Um,
We
so
figured that out.
yeah,
This was productive.
I'm kind of a yenta, if you're familiar with Fiddler on the Roof,
Yeah.
like the matchmaker. Like, I'm the one that's going to want to connect you because I just get a kick out of it. I just
Yeah.
love connecting people and helping people. Like, I always say, like, I should have been a nurse. Like, I would have been a really good nurse because I really love helping people. And I'm really
Yeah.
good at just kind of guessing ailments. That's another thing I'm really good at. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Call the Midwife. I love guessing what the problem is with the pregnant mom and being like, oh my God, she's got, hypertension. Oh my God. And I'm like, I'm right. I knew I was right. So
Yeah.
that kind of stuff I get a kick out of helping people in general. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. And you're good at diagnosing the problem, which is great because in marketing, that is literally what you have to do is you diagnose a problem and then you help people and either with the strategy, or you connect them to someone who does. I mean, that is marketing all the way, and owning an agency. That's how you do it. Right. And
absolutely. That right there, that year that I was in learning and development, that
yeah.
was so much of my self development was learning
Yeah.
about that process of the needs analysis. So
Yeah.
that's always the first step in building a training program. It's
Yep.
sitting down with your stakeholders, talking to your, they call them SMEs. What does it stand for? Subject matter expert.
Oh
And
yeah. Yep.
interviewing people, working on the floor, figuring out what's actually the problem here. And then
Yeah.
using all of that data to figure out, like, oh, here's the problem. The executives in the office think that their people are lazy, but it's just that their systems aren't working. Like, their computer software sucks.
Yeah.
And it's like that right there. When I learned how to do that, that absolutely is being applied in my marketing business so that I can be like,
Yeah.
hey, you think that this is your marketing problem? It actually isn't. Like, you've
Yeah.
got this other problem that I can very easily fix. So
Yeah.
let's see what happens when I do that.
Yeah. And I think that's really good. And that is honestly the thing when I work with the marketers, it's like, do you know the problem you're solving for someone? And if they can't name that, if they can't figure that out, and have their own marketing say that, that's where they get all confusing and messing up like who their target market is and all that, because they're not really 100% sure on the problem that they're solving. So the fact that you have that skill and you're really good at it is only going to propel you further with your own agency and what you're doing and how you're helping people.
Oh, thank you. When you were talking, I was thinking of like objectives. You have
Yeah.
to have an objective for every campaign, every
Yeah.
course you're creating. And
Yeah.
without those clear objectives and focusing on just one objective at a time,
Yeah.
you're just scattered. You're all over the place. You don't have a singular goal to focus
Yep.
on. That is
Yep.
so critical. And it's interesting because since I have this experience in teaching and learning and development, I'm finding people who are in L&D, who are consultants,
Yeah.
wanting my marketing help
Totally.
because I have this background and I understand how to market an online course. I've built
Right.
my own online courses. I'm planning to build my own online course because there's not enough of those in the market. No, but yes, it's very saturated. But I also, between you and me and everyone listening, I've had an opportunity to purchase a marketing course that I could just then the master resell rights thing. It's all
Right.
hot on TikTok right now, right? And I was like, you know what? It would only be $500. I could resell it, but I was like, but it wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be
Right.
the one teaching it. And I really want to take that time to really develop my curriculum and plan out, what do I want people to know?
Yeah.
I think is really important because I know there's always going to be people who really can't afford my consulting services to do it themselves, but they just could really use a 101 in how to do all this stuff. And I
Yeah.
know those things. So that's another one of the things that I want to do to help people who really can't afford what I'm charging.
Well, and that's what's great is you have your offers kind of figured out. You're like, okay, I have a roadmap. I'm going to, offer courses eventually that are a lower ticket item, right? And then you have your higher ticket items of like the actual consulting and then like connecting people and all that. And that's what is really important too for agency owners to figure out is like, what exactly is your offer and what is the customer journey through that offer, right? Because someone might take your course and go, okay, I did as much as I could do on my own, the kind of DIY approach, right? Now I need a little bit more. And that's when they can go to you and be like, okay, I took your course, which is great for you because one, it helps them become educated so that they can have a better, more educated conversation with you. So you're not picking up on step 1 with them, you're on step 5, right? And that just makes it so much more productive for them and you when they actually buy your consulting services.
You hit the nail on the head 100%. And it's just so interesting that you were just talking about building your premium offers, because that is literally what I did last week. I was
Nice.
because I've been like insanely tuned into LinkedIn, and who is it? I think Jacob Peggs, he's like an incredible, follow Jacob, he's wonderful. And he was like, build your premium offers, like please do this. And I was like, you've convinced me, I'm doing it.
Yes.
So because basically before that, my website was like, here's the 10 different things I can do, call me.
Right.
And I was like, because that was just how I was just like, I have to get something on this website. So I put
done is better than perfect.
Right, exactly. So I had like a smattering of things I could do. I can do podcasts, I can do video, I can do everything but the kitchen sink, right?
Yeah.
But that's not going to get somebody to actually book an appointment with me.
Right.
They can't formulate in their minds, like, what do I actually want her to do? So I decided, you know what, I got to cut all this down. So I've decided, my premium offer, number 1 is going to be that brand strategy session. Like,
awesome.
I got to focus in on that. And that's going to be like my top thing, because without that brand strategy, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I already have brought on clients who I've met through my networking, and I'm trying to create a campaign for a product that they've had that isn't selling very well, but I didn't do the branding with them, or the brand work that they've done in the past is outdated, or they never really did like the full experience of who is your customer, what are we focusing on? Like, what's the big deal? What's your persona? What's your voice? All of those things. If they haven't done that work, it makes it so much harder for me. So it's really to my benefit as well that we do that brand stuff, because I need something to work with.
Yeah.
And then I've created other packages that people can be like, oh, yes, I want to buy that. Done.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot better now that I've even done those things, because this is part of starting your business that anybody starting a business has to do. And
yes.
so I'm building my marketing business, also planning my marketing and building it's just crazy how it all connects.
Yeah.
And then
it's a domino effect too, right? Like especially once you get that offer figured out, oh my gosh, it's like everything else just starts to fall into place, because you have to get a lot of clarity and get really singular again with what the objective is to get your offer figured out, so that okay, what's my messaging for this? Who am I promoting it to? And all of those different things. Like when the offer's like figured out, that you can now gain some momentum.
Yes, absolutely. Because then I have a product. I have something to sell. Otherwise, I'm trying to sell something and people are like, well, what am I buying? And it's like, I don't know.
And why am I buying it?
Right, exactly. Oh my God. It felt so good to put up that post a few days ago on LinkedIn. Like, here's what I'm offering. And that's the other thing, is not being afraid to just come out and say, this is what I want to sell you. This is what I can do for you.
Yeah.
And really like being very strategic about when you're posting those kinds of posts on social, and not making your account all about selling. You have to have that healthy balance of like, a slice of life, a day in the life of me and my business. I just posted a picture of after I got my hair and makeup done to do my brand strategy, or my brand photography photo shoot that I did yesterday, which was insane. I have to tell you all about it someday. But it was like getting all of those components together, and then kind of like literally creating my own content marketing strategy, which is, so it's like, I'm putting all these things together and it's like, oh, brand strategy session. I'm offering this to people. Gee, I should probably do this for myself first.
Right.
I literally sat down with my own workbook and I was like, now I have to fill this out. And I was like, wow, this is actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. And now I've put myself in the shoes of the person I'm going through that, so I can understand what they are going through.
Yeah.
So that was a big eye opener.
And that's really good too, because then you can kind of see the pitfalls of it, right? You can go like, oh, maybe this question would be better, or maybe I should wait to ask that question later, or, oh, this one should have been asked right away, and it can kind of give you that ability also to use yourself as a case study.
Yes. Absolutely. I did that for me. And I also did it for my first client, who was
Awesome.
a networking friend of mine who had already hired me to do like some video work and some minor stuff. But I was like, Sonia, could you be my guinea pig?
Yeah,
I need somebody to do this strategy session. And we were into it. It was like a full day thing. And we
that's
were both
awesome.
so exhausted. But then she was able to give me that direct feedback. She was
Yeah.
able to be like, look, you need to create some pre-work for me to do before we come into this. I said, you're
Yes.
1,000% right. I'm absolutely going to make that so that when my next client comes on board to do this, they're doing the work ahead of time so that when they get to the strategy session, they're in that mindset. They've already
Yep.
thought through a lot of those things. And then the actual workshop will be so much more fruitful
Yeah.
because then you've done the work and you
Yeah.
can really dig into that. So poor Sonia, we're like doing this live and she's like, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And she's like, oh man, if I had only had something to prepare ahead of time, this wouldn't have been
Yeah.
so long. And I was like,
Yeah.
you've said it right there. You've saved me so many hours telling me that. And now I'm going to do that. So I highly recommend finding
Yeah.
somebody who's also on that journey with you to try something out and just say, you know what? All I asked her was like, if you could just give me a review because
Yeah.
we did this, that's going to be so much more valuable. So then I was able to take that pull quote and now I'm using my marketing hat to like market my own business. I'm going to
Yes.
take those quotes, I'm going to put them on my website, and then I'm going to link back to her website and she's going to link to mine. So we get that backlink juice.
Yep.
So it's all, I'm trying to, I'm so exhausted. Can I tell you?
But you have so much energy and I love it. It's like, you are on this journey and it is like full steam ahead. I can feel it. I can see it in you. And
right, it's like Back to the Future 3, that
yeah.
runaway train that Marty's
Yeah,
on and they're
totally.
trying to stop it. There's no stopping this runaway train. I'm going to go down into that cliff. But no, it's been also a challenge doing this in the summer. At least my kids were in camp, but it's like the schedule is not what it's
Oh
been.
my gosh. Tell me about
So
it.
now we're in the period between camp and school. And
Yeah.
my twin boys are 10 years old. And so they can
Okay.
do a lot on their own, but they've
Yes.
also, like, they just got strep and then the other one had this other thing. And it's like nonstop, like, oh my God. So I'm doing it, but I'm also hoping that once they're back in school, there'll be more of a schedule that we can kind of plan around. I know it's all going to be insanity all the time, but here's the other thing that I've learned, Holly.
Yes.
I'm my own boss.
Yeah, you are.
That is something that I still cannot believe. Like, I am still like looking over my shoulder, like, right. Oh my God, I'm still like, someone's going to notice I'm away on Teams and think that I'm up to no good, or I'm just paying nails or something. Or I'm in the car because I had to run to Walgreens to get someone's prescription. And I have to rush home to get on my computer. For who?
Right.
For who?
Yeah.
That is a mentality I'm going to be talking to my therapist about for a very long time. And I do really highly recommend you get a therapist if you don't already. Hopefully you can afford it, or a coach or somebody that you can just talk to and bounce these feelings off of, because
it's huge.
Business,
yeah.
It's like, and I'm the breadwinner in my relationship, in my marriage. Thank God for my husband, who we have all of our insurance through him. So that was kind of like if we didn't have that, I don't know if I could have done this.
Right.
And it's unfortunate in the United States that that's kind of the deal.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to get this train moving, and things are happening. I've got 3 personal good friends of mine who are hiring me to do work for their business.
Awesome.
And I have several people who I've met through my networking who are also coming on board, but I'm in this weird in-between period where I'm still building the plane as I'm flying it. But at the same time, like, I'm racking up debt, like I'm going out of business. It's like, I'm just like, I'm trying to not stress about that. I'm trying to just like, it's going to be okay. You're going to be able to pay this debt off. It's going to happen, but it's really hard to convince yourself of that. It
is. And the financial part of it is stressful. And whenever you launch something new, you go into that kind of like free fall a little bit. And, but the fact that you already have people like hiring you and doing this stuff. And I mean, I get the whole like kid go back to school thing. My oldest went back to school yesterday, but it's not till my younger son goes back to preschool twice a week that I gain 8 hours back in my life that I can like do things. Right. And I'm like, September 8th, we can do this again, like, or whatever. And so it's a total thing. But the fact that like, if you can take that time when you have it, just to get little steps, right? Because it's consistency. I mean, it's so overused, but it's so true. Consistency is key. And if you just keep putting one step in front of the other, you keep moving forward, and you know where you're headed now, right? Like, so you can just do those things as you go. I mean, it's going to be really fun over these next 6 months to watch how this grows. I mean, you are a freight train right now. You have a lot of momentum and you have a lot of energy behind it, and that's good. And it's in those times where you start to feel that energy wane that you have to go back and remember your why. Why are you doing this? You get community around you to encourage you, because going at it alone doesn't work very well, right? So having these people around you, our podcast every month that we're going to do to keep you going. I mean, it's going to be really exciting to watch over the next 6 months.
Well, I'm really excited to just bear it all and help people to, I guess, also learn from my experience. You know, if you're also on this journey to kind of learn from my mistakes, so to speak. And I think it's interesting, as you were talking and saying like getting your support system and it sounds like starting to be a parent as well.
Yep.
No, it reminds me of that time when my twins were so little and I was like, no, I'm going to do it all on my own. And then it was like, oh, wait, I'm having postpartum anxiety. Oh my God, I'm in my mind. Yeah, I guess I should let my parents help me. Yes, I guess I should get, some sort of nanny to help me out and build my tribe and my community to help me through all the hard times.
Yes.
So it's similar in that. And, okay, if I could survive infant twins, I can do anything.
I mean, seriously, I don't know. I had one at a time and I was like, if I ever had twins, I'd lose my mind. Like, so
you're absolutely
you
right.
have done hard things. You can do this. Is there any last thing you want to share about the beginning of your journey so far? I know we have a ton to talk about and we have these tiny little episodes, but we're going to get to all the nitty gritty in every episode. But is there any last little piece of wisdom that you want to share?
I think my number one tip would be find good networking groups. When you find one that's good, you'll know. Some of them you do have to pay to join, but it is worth it for the right group. I'm going to plug the group I'm in. They're called the Inner Circle. Look them up online. It's for anyone across the world really to join. Awesome. But the kind of people in that group, they are so willing to help. And that's awesome. Is really everybody that's a part of that group. Their number one priority is, how can I connect you? How can I help you? How can I support you? And because everybody in the group knows that it's going to come back to them.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm also going to like Chamber of Commerce meetings. I'm going to other like Facebook networking groups in my area, but really that group is absolutely where all of the main support is coming from, where
that's awesome.
And people are being so kind in their feedback to me. And so it's kind of like wrapping myself in a warm blanket, but they also do a lot of education, like a lot of webinars and a lot of meet and greets, and you can do a couple of events without joining. So, you could always reach out to me if you want an invite. But yeah, I think just try to really find your people, like you said. People who are also going through it and who can also partake, wisdom upon you, but who aren't just there for themselves.
Yep.
But that's the key.
Yeah, that's a really big deal. That's a great piece of advice. I love that. And as we go through this journey on the podcast, why don't you tell everyone where they can just connect with you online to kind of follow this more closely and connect with you?
Oh, Holly, I don't want to promote myself.
Oh, do it.
JulieNicholsMarketing.com. That's Nichols, not Nicholas, by the way. Everybody wants to spell my name Nicholas for some reason. JulieNicholsMarketing.com. You could find me on LinkedIn. Just Julie Nichols. You can just search for that. And because I have my business page, but like I'm not really doing much with it because all of my people are on my personal page.
Right.
LinkedIn and it's LinkedIn.com/in/Julie Nichols Marketing. You'll find me there. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube as Julie Nichols Marketing. So I haven't put anything up on YouTube yet, but it's coming. But yeah, that's the other thing, is trying to figure out what are my top socials, and then what are socials that I don't really need to push just yet, but I want to start just to claim the name.
Yeah, totally.
That's where you can find me, and just reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. I love connecting with people too. So if you want to have a call and just meet up and see how we can help each other out, I'm all for it.
Love it. Oh my gosh, Julie, this was so fun. I wish we had like 2 hours. I could
I
like just
know.
talk to you this whole time. It's so fun. I'm excited. I will make sure those links are in the show notes so people can connect with you there. You guys, this is going to come out the second Friday of every month starting. This one will be out. Let's see, September 8th is the day this one goes live. So every second Friday of every month through February, I believe. So follow along. Go connect with Julie on LinkedIn and other socials. And let's just give her a ton of support and cheer her on and learn from what she has to say every month. Thank you, Julie, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Holly. You were an absolute delight, and I'm really looking forward to the series. So thanks for having me.
Of course. And thank you, everyone, for listening to the Inbound Back Office podcast, brought to you by Inbound Back Office, plug and play back office support for your marketing agency. You can find Inbound Back Office at inboundbackoffice.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, which I'm sure you did, take a minute, leave us a review, and share it with other agency owners. Let's follow along Julie's journey. Let's encourage her along the way, give her some tips, and get advice from her as we go. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on our weekly episodes. Until next time.